So moving on to the next scene, this will be the moment when Neo will start to wake up, and on a three-dimensional level, Neo is about to get baptized by Morpheus, symbolized by the rain you can see here. And the movie will give us first hints about what the Matrix really is about. Okay, before I play this scene, before I continue with this scene, I want you to pay attention to this image. We see the checkerboard floor and we see the stairs leading upwards to Morpheus. And as we already know, this moment is a key moment for Neo because he is about to be enlightened by the truth. And whenever a character enters into a phase of awakening, Hollywood likes to use this Masonic theme of the checkerboard floor. There we can see here to symbolize duality, which is the coming together of opposites, the coming together of good and evil, represented by the black and white pattern. And this pattern is usually found on the floor, and it is combined with a protagonist going up the stairs to show that he is leaving base consciousness and is elevating towards enlightenment. Remember when I pointed out Neo's apartment number? He was living in apartment number 101. And now we see that there was no coincidence because the writer is showing us symbolically that Neo is about to go from basic knowledge to become enlightened by Morpheus. You get that? He's leaving the ground floor, which represents his rudimentary way of life, his life in the Matrix, and he walks up the stairs to show that he's getting to a higher level of human existence. And why am I telling you this esoteric stuff? Because I want you to understand that what you see, I want you to understand what you see because Hollywood is obsessed with this duality. Because duality, the coming together of opposites, is a hidden symbol for Satanism. Because Satanists believe that God and Satan are the same entity, and there's basically no difference between good and evil. There's the pattern of black and white. That is also where the concept of transgenderism comes from, because according to that concept, the coming together of opposites create the perfect being. So there's also why we have transgenderism pushed so heavily. The coming together of male and the female principle, okay? And Hollywood is making you comfortable with that theme subconsciously. And see,
This is it. Let me give you one.
The honor is mine. Please, come. You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees because he is expecting to wake up. Ironically, this is not far from the truth. Do you believe in fate, Neo?
No,
Why not?
because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
I know exactly what you mean. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
that you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind.
So let me stop here real quick. Many viewers think the Matrix is some kind of cheat code that lets you dodge bullets, and no matter how many times they will watch the movie, they will not understand what the Matrix really is, because even the movie won't tell you straight away. And even here, Morpheus was very vague with his explanation. See, we humans are spiritual beings, and even though we live our life on this dimension, the dimension that we can see with our eyes, feel, smell, and taste, we experience the things that we cannot see in a spiritual realm. And the Matrix is designed to keep us focused on our fleshly experience. It tells us that we have no souls, and instead we should chase the pleasures of our fleshly experience. The Matrix, here it comes, the Matrix is Satan's kingdom, and Satan's goal is to keep us away from the Most High. That is why the program is feeding us with idols and the worship of the woman, with the love of money, sex, drugs, comfort, and so on. Okay, that is why the scriptures say that those who love the things of this world don't have the love of the Father in them. Okay, let me explain. Yeah, remember the huge success of Facebook back then? Facebook, or really any social media, is actually a part of the Matrix. And lately, Facebook blatantly changed their name to the Metaverse. But people are so asleep, they don't even understand the hint. The huge success of Facebook back then was tied to how the platform was actually a hookup platform, disguised as a social media platform. And Mark Zuckerberg designed Facebook as a low-key hookup platform. And the reason it blew up was because it gave people a virtual place to brand the shit out of them, basically, and to create a fake persona of themselves, all in order to get laid. He even said it himself in the Facebook movie. He said, like, all human motivation comes from the urge to get laid. So they chase money and status and a nice car and superficial beauty and social acceptance, basically the things of the world, all so they can get laid. And that is a major reason why we have those weak men bowing down to all these woke agendas today, because these men chase the acceptance by the woman, because they don't want to be labeled as an old school guy or as an unprogressive guy, right? Because that would make them an enemy to the same woman that they try to fuck or impress. And here's how you know that the Matrix is Satan's kingdom. In the Genesis story, when Adam and Eve lived in the garden, Satan tells Eve that she could become just like a god if she would eat from the single fruit that was forbidden by God. And Eve was curious by nature and tempted by the promises. So she disobeyed God and listened to the snake. And Adam also was confronted with a choice, because his beloved wife wants to eat the fruit. And he still had the choice to obey God and to stay with God in paradise. But to do that, he basically had to leave Eve. But Adam decided to follow Eve into death. And with that act, he put the woman over God, okay? There are two major things we can take from the story. First, Adam invented simping when he disconnected from the Most High for the sake of his woman. He was the first simp who ever walked the earth, because he chose his wife instead of the bond with the Most High and the peace in the garden. And therefore, the Most High punished him for breaking the rightful order, and that resulted in what we know as the fall. And the second thing that the story reveals is that the devil knew how to get to Adam, and that was through his wife. Now, here's where it gets interesting. See, the snake could have said everything to Eve, but it knew her weak point, just like it knew Adam's. So the snake promises her that she could become just like a god, and that reveals to us that Eve's weak point is that she's narcissistic and she wants to be worshipped just like a god. And skipping forward, today, even 1,000 years later, most women still have the same spirit like Eve. The amount of selfies they do, the way they dress up and show their ass and titties on Instagram, like they fucking love the attention. They love to get worshipped for their looks, and it just makes them fucking high. And that is because they are the descendants of Eve. And because the spirit of Eve is so dominating today. And of course, there are exceptions, but for the most part, they only care about themselves until they get to a specific point in their lives. Mostly, it's when they get a baby. And the saga of the sim continues because when we look at men nowadays, it's like they inherited the weakness of Adam. We have all those sims calling them random host queens and worshipping them and putting them on a pedestal. And that is no coincidence again. Satan knows exactly how to destroy man. And that is why the enemy is pushing the feminine principle so hard in today's kingdom. It's to destroy the connection between man and the Most High by getting men to fall in love with the woman and worship them instead of worshiping the Most High. Okay? It's all spiritual in this world, you understand? But the sim program is not only through the woman, but also through idols or hero worship. Morpheus mentioned TV programs, and the term program itself, of course, indicates that those TV shows act as another part of the program of our mind, okay? It starts when we watch the heroes on screen, and Hollywood uses these stars as another tool of the Matrix to introduce ideologies and push values onto those fans by having them low-key support those things in the movies or in interviews, and so on. So that works because the mentality of being a fan and idolizing became so normal in our time, because we really don't have any role models anymore in this world, where men are just weak as fuck, and can't really blame them, right? So everyone knows Disney, and we know that Disney always portrayed this white knight that comes to rescue the princess from the tower. And nowadays we have these main protagonists, they always chasing after a woman, putting her on a pedestal and having it as their highest end goal in life. They kill for the woman, they die for the woman, they do everything for her. And even in this movie, Neo was revived by the power of love after Trinity kisses him back to life. And the exact thing happened in one of those Fast and the Furious movies when Don Toretto dies. His chick literally kisses him back to life too. So I think this concept, this scene is mimicking how the Most High blew the breath of life into Adam. But what it really conveys is the worship of the woman. I hope you understand this. And we see this male archetype in so many movies, right? The male badass protagonist who falls in love with a woman and always has to protect the feminine principle. And it's because we look at these heroes as role models that we accept the program. It's because the state of fanatic idealism, we want to be like them so badly. It may be our favorite singer or an artist or actor or influencer. So since the 1960s, we can see the rapid rise of gay movements and then equality, and now we have LGBTQ, and yeah, who the hell knows how many genders there gonna be. And that is because Satan is playing the woman by empowering and using the lust and simping in men to get them to accept those movements. And what psychologists defined as a personality disorder back then is now considered something to be proud of. But really, this whole agenda is about destroying the order that the Most High established in order for the humans to live together in peace. And what do I mean by order? In every aspect of life, we can see this order. In our workplace, there's a CEO, a boss, a deputy, and we have the regular workers. And the thing that enables this organism to function properly is the chain of command. There's a clear order, and everyone knows their role and their place. And in our household, the man is the head of the family. He has the wife to help him, and the children have to listen to the parent. And hopefully, the man listens to the Most High. And even in the animal kingdom, there's order. When we look at the bees or the ants, they rely on hierarchy to survive as a whole species. But people don't really like that because they'd have to humble themselves for the well-being of the community. But yeah, they really, they really don't want to. So imagine the worker starts talking smack to the boss, telling the boss what to do. Now, that business would totally destroy itself if the boss would allow such behavior, because now the co-workers would see that there's no consequence for that, and they start to follow that example. So when I state that man and woman are not equal, I'm not talking about one is worth more worth than the other, okay? Because back then, a king, although he was at the top of the hierarchy, he was considered to be a servant to his folk. And it was his duty and also his honor to protect his folk and to rule in the interest of the people. And it's like Uncle Ben always said to Peter Parker, with great power comes great responsibility. And I'm tired of this debate that man and woman were created, because man and woman were created to complement each other. They are not the same from birth. And it's due to these teachings that man can't really man up and take responsibility, and the woman can't really stay in a relationship for longer than a season, at least the modern woman. And as boys, as young boys, we mimic our fathers without anyone ever telling us to do so. We pick up toys like cars and guns by ourselves. We start to wrestle and naturally drawn towards sports. And meanwhile, the girls, they mimic their mothers, hopefully. And that's why they like to play with these dolls and play mother and buy a miniature kitchen and, act like they cook. And of course, there are always exceptions to this, but even gay couples have one side that is more masculine, the other side is more feminine. Really, this whole system is really designed to keep the man from thinking in his right mind, and as a result, keeping him from connecting to the Most High. And meanwhile, it empowers the woman to lead and embrace chaos. Because a modern woman is a narcissist like Eve. They love the attention and the power they get by pushing those movements, by feeling important. They are self worshippers, and that's why most of your women are so obsessed with your looks, but are totally empty on the inside. But Morpheus also mentions work and paying taxes. And chances are that you got the vaccine because otherwise you wouldn't be allowed to work. See, your job is another mechanism of the matrix because you depend so much on money to pay your food, your rent, your Netflix account, and all the comfort you live in. But that also makes you a slave at the same time because now that job dictates your decision making because you depend so much on that employment to keep living in comfort. And that is why porn and TV and TikTok and stuff like that is free because while it keeps you sedated and high, you will still pay, but you will pay with your soul because these addictions will distract you from elevating as well. They will keep you low. And he mentioned paying taxes. Of course, another part of the matrix combined with working because you ever wonder why they never teach us the knowledge that really matter in school, how to make your own business, how to become self-employed, because the elite has great interest in keeping you small. Also, you end up as a hamster in a wheel that generates money for the state. There's the saying, teach a man how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime, but they really only gave us one fish to get us hooked. So when you try to milk the people, you can't just take from them, but instead you give them something that they get comfortable with, and now they have something to lose. Now they depend on that comfort, and they will go to you to work for you. Okay? So your job can be like an endless distraction, like earn money, spend money for shit, repeat, and die. And many lives end like this, totally meaningless. And I'm not saying don't work, but that we have to seek the Most High first and maximize the gifts that He gave us so we can eventually earn money with our talents instead of working a job that we hate. And in the end, we can't take any money with us after we leave this realm. So it's the love of money, guys. There are like people who have enough to retire 100 times over and they're still not satisfied. They are still hungry because they are spiritually poor and no amount of money can fill that void.
Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.